After another nearly 2 days at sea, we arrived at the Marquesas. The first island we were to stop at was Uapo, a majestic looking piece of rock with towering spires of basalt standing sentinel over the island. Despite the ominous looking cloud, all of the Marquesas were suffering from drought conditions.
It was amazing how the skipper of the Aranui 3 manoeuvred this large ship into dock. This would be our first chance to get the rods and go out for a fish. Everywhere you looked there were signs of life. We met up with our fishing guides for the next 14 days, Antoine and Manu. Despite the differences in the language, we soon formed a strong bond with these likeable characters. Antoine was a very laid-back but keen angler with a wealth of experience in the Marquesas. He had a great knowledge of the local fish species and how to catch them.
Manu, our other crew member and resident comedian, had visions of filling the boat with fish using local techniques that included heavy handlines and jet head lures, while we were here to sport fish and sent out a couple of lures on trolling rods. We were barely a kilometre away from Aranui 3 when we had our first strike. Unfortunately, the encounter with the marlin was brief, but what a great start.
We continued trolling, getting heaps of bites, but failing to get a solid hook up. I decided to put on a smaller lure on my favourite light rod. As I was dropping the lure back, a fish grabbed it straight away.
Go, Nick. Nikki had hooked her first fish in the Marquesas, and it was definitely giving her a run for her money.
Go to the corner if you can.
I can't get close.
I couldn't wait to see what type of fish I'd hooked.
Gaps in the front of the boat, isn't it?
Fishing from the passenger barge was really great in one respect with lots of space, but we had to land the fish by the doors in the middle of the barge. So Anton had to manoeuvre the barge so Nikki could get in position to lead her fish to the opening.
Watch the line. Oh, slow, eh? It's good on the light rod. Lie down. Right. Be careful when it's... That's it. As it swims around, wind down, let it do its circuits. That's it.
Coming up.
Yeah. Don't try and lift too high.
Attends, Antoine, il va dessous. Ah. 40. Joli.
Oh, it's a beauty. Relax.
Manu's gaffing skills definitely had me worried. This wasn't the only time that this was going to happen.
Joli!
The bluefin trevally had taken a Daiwa pirate jig that Manu quickly named Nemo after the cartoon character.
Beautiful
Oh!
fish.
Yeah, bluefin trevally.
Well, that's brilliant.
Feels a bit better
Lovely.
now.
The next stop on our journey was the beautiful Nukuhiva Island, where we decided to get a taste of the history and culture of the Marquesas. As well as once being highly feared warriors, the Marquesans are also skillful artists, being well renowned for their wood carving and tribal tattoos. The European influence could also be seen in the architecture. The buildings and grounds of the church were beautifully presented and maintained, and as we were to discover, the rest of the Marquesas were beautifully kept with no litter or signs of 21st century waste.
We were treated to a four-wheel drive journey to the top of the island to see some of the local sights. One thing that we found really interesting was the pig dance performed on a natural stage beneath a huge banyan tree. It is important to say, while not as stirring as some of the Marquesan tribal dances, the guttural pig sound that the dancers make is quite unique and very similar to a foraging pig.
We continued to the other side of the islands, where we were treated to a great umukai, cooked by the locals, which consists of whole pigs, local vegetables including breadfruit, that has been steamed in a ground oven for about 6 hours.